Hello, my friends. Welcome once again to Kardec Radio here. I'm Luiz Lima, your host for tonight on the program Spiritism, A Closer Look. I'm in Orlando, Florida, and we do this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And tonight, we are going to take a closer look at the perceptions of the soul. This is an interesting topic. We had a talk last year, about a year ago. I think we the title was Facts and Perceptions, which kind of goes along with the topic today. We're just going to go a little deeper today on this. But if you want to see the original, the name is Facts and Perceptions. Well, facts and perceptions or perceptions, it's really something that we need to learn how to uh, interpret things that happen in our lives, around us, with other people. And we have a very hard time doing this. We usually consider here two layers. We can perceive something, for example, a situation or something that happens in our daily lives. We can perceive that as a simple person, a physical body, a person using our five senses. That's how we perceive the material world, with our five senses. But that's not enough, because on top of this, we have what we call the perception of the soul or the spirit. To perceive the material world, we use our five senses. To perceive the spiritual world, we use our vital centers, or four centers, or chakras. That's what allows us to interact and perceive the spirit world. However, whatever we perceive gets filtered by our own spiritual history. We are all different. We all came here through a different trajectory, going through different experiences. Some of us are more advanced on certain things. Some of us are, not so advanced. We are all different in terms of our being here and carrying with us our entire spiritual history. And also, on top of that, we still have external influences on our lives. Not only influences. I don't mean anything at the material level. We have influences of spirits, so their influence on our lives, on our perception, might greatly impact the way we see things. So we perceive things like in these two ways, as a person, but we are not really going to talk about this. We're going to understand how we perceive things as a spirit. However, let's put a few examples here on how we can be tricked by our perception. Let's talk about a few things first on the material world. So just think of this. Let me see if you can follow this. I give you a fan. Okay, the fan is turned off, and you look at the fan, and I ask you, how many blades do you see here? And you look at it and you say, oh, I see three blades. And yeah, you got that right. There are three blades on the fan right there. The fan is not moving, it's turned off. So I then turn the fan on with a very, very, very slow speed, extremely slow speed. And then I ask you, how many blades do you see? And you're going to see three blades, because it's easy to count them, because you're actually seeing the three blades just the same way you had them when the fan was turned off. Now, if I bring it up in speed a little bit more, there might be a point where when I ask you, how many blades do you see? And you're going to say, well, I see six. And if I bring it up for more speed, I'm asking you now, how many blades? And you go like a little bit difficult, then you look at it and you say, 9. And then I put the fan at full speed and I ask you, how many blades do you see? Then you're going to say, I don't see any blades, I see a disc. So our perception changed just because the speed on the fan changed. So we don't see 3 blades anymore when the speed is very high. Now, the fact that our perception is it's a disc when the speed is very high, it does not at all in any way imply that the fan does not have 3 blades. It still has the same 3 original blades. What changed is not the fan, it's my perception. So the form changed. I had the perception that the form changed from 3 blades to a disc. However, my perception does not change the fact that the fan has 3 blades. So you see, in this particular case, our perception depends on the speed. And it's the same person. It's not that you're getting 2 different people or 3 different people and asking for their opinion, their perception. No, it's the same person that changes perception because of a certain circumstance in the material. This is material, this is physical world. So you see, the fact that the fan has 3 blades not necessarily makes me perceive that way. And this is a pure material thing, very easy, just to demonstrate how we can be tricked. Another thing, think about a magician. Okay, so you go see a magician, he's put a show together and so and so. One thing that is certain is you're being tricked. And you know, and we know. We go, we see it, we look at it and say, oh man, how come the guy was able to trick me on this thing? Now, the magician does not in any way work on the material level. He works at the perception level. When he plans his, say, tricks or magic, he plans based on what the audience is going to perceive. The material, the physical things are the physical things. You know, when he puts a very typical magic, which is to put a lady, you know, inside a box and cut the lady in half, then the lady comes back alive. As nothing happened, because at the material level, it did not happen. It was just our perception. We were tricked. Let me give you another example. This is very famous. It's an experiment using 5 monkeys. You put 5 monkeys in a place. Okay, in the middle of this place, you put a pole with some bananas on top. So you know the monkeys, they all go up because they all want the bananas. So you start the experiment by doing this. When one of the monkeys go up to pick up the bananas, the other 4, not the one that goes up, the other 4, they are we spray cold water on them, very cold water. We shower them, you know, with a hose with cold water. They don't like, of course. And then you let it go a little bit longer. When another monkey is going up, you do the same thing. You use the hose and you throw or you use cold water on the other 4 monkeys that stay on the ground. There's going to be a point where when one of the monkeys tries to go up the pole, the other 4 are going to prevent him from doing that. It's going to say, no, don't do this. You stay down here with us. Because if he actually goes up and, you know, takes a banana, the other 4 are going to get showered. So there's going to be a point where they all learn what's happening. It's an acquired behavior. They learn. So none of them are going up the pole anymore. When it gets to this point, you take one of them out and replace with another monkey. that didn't see the experiment. It's a brand new kid on the block. You put that monkey in, the first thing that monkey is going to do is he's going to go up to pick up the banana. The minute he threatens to do that or attempts to do that, all the other four monkeys are going to get him down. They're not going to let him pick up the banana, and it doesn't make absolutely any sense to that monkey. It doesn't make any sense. So when that monkey no longer tries to do it, you replace the second monkey, same thing. Replace the third, replace the fourth. Now there's only one left from the original generation, and then you replace that one. So now you have 5 monkeys that were not the first generation monkeys, and none of them will go up to pick up the bananas on top of the pole. And then they can ask themselves why. And they don't have an answer. It's just their perception that they're supposed to do this. But it doesn't have a logical explanation. And this happens to us a lot in our lives. We just abide to things in a way because, that's the way it's supposed to be. And we just take it as a postulate. So this is a very, very interesting postulate. Our perception of time, which is also something that belongs to the material, physical world, our perception of time is also interesting when we look at it. You might go to an event, for example, let's say you go to a football game, for example. So you're going to stay in the stadium for 2, 3, 4 hours, depending on what the game is. And then you take with you somebody, it's just company. So you didn't want to go along. The person said, no, I'll go with you. But the person is not really into the game. They don't really care for that. So after a while, for you, it might be a very exciting game. It's going fast, at a fast pace. For that person is like, watching the clock every 3 minutes. This thing doesn't end. It could be a movie that the topic or the theme of the movie is very interesting for you, not the person who is watching with you. So the person wants this thing to, get to the end quickly, and the movie is still going, and you're all excited because the theme just, you're aligned with that movie. So the passage of time is not the same for everyone. We don't perceive time all the same. The same event that takes the same number of hours, I'm talking number of hours, the exact same number of hours, for me might be, oh, that went fast. For the other person, oh my God, finally this thing is over. And why is that? Because the perceptions are different. So we perceive time not based on the number of hours, the number of minutes, and the number of seconds. That's not perception, that's fact. The event lasts, say, 1 hour and 34 minutes. Now, I had the perception you went for 3 hours. You had the perception you went for 20 minutes. So the perception of time is also something interesting. And why is that? And here's a trick. It's different for every person. Why? Because the perception of time comes from the intelligent principle, not from the cells in the body. Time is physical, but the perception of time is not. Isn't that interesting? So we perceive time with our soul. The intelligent principle is in charge of the perception, not the cells. Cells follow what they are told to, and who tells them to do what? The intelligent principle, or spirit, or soul. So, because perception is different, the perception is different for every spirit. Because every person is different, everyone has a perception, depends on the spiritual history of the person. And I'll tell you more. Perception depends on the position that you are on the spirit scale. I don't know if you remember the spirit scale. Let me just bring this over the screen here, just quickly here. This is the spirit scale. So we have spirits that are, this has to do with the level of moral and intellectual advancement. We've had several talks about this, but really quick. The spirits in shades of red are in the bottom of the scale, at the lowest level, impure, and then you go up a little bit. Frivolous, so to learn. So the green shades of green spirits are good spirits. We on earth are essentially red spirits, or shades of red, I would see. So the higher you are on the scale, your perception changes. So, for example, something that happens, let's just say an earthquake. An earthquake. You can't do anything about it. So it just happened. If you are in the shades of red, you perceive this as something like, wow, that's awful, it shouldn't happen, God is not here, and so and so and so. We're going to get into this in a minute. But if you're all the way high, let's say you are a high order spirit on the top of the green shades, the perception is completely different. So the perception that we have about things depends on where we are on the spirit scale. For example, if we are at, say, at the second level from the bottom, frivolous, if we are on that level, our perception of, for example, love is not the same as if you are a, say, wise spirit up here. It's just different. It's the same word, but the perception is not the same. Because the perception depends on the level of evolvement, level of advancement of the spirit, morally and intellectually. So that's why none of us, no two people have the same perception about everything, or at least some of the things. So I want to bring four little things for us to discuss here. Perception of four things, really quick: God, happiness, justice, and free will. We could be here the whole night, but that's not the point. We're just bringing awareness of the difficulties that we have in perceiving and the intake of certain situations in life. So let's talk about first perception of happiness. Happiness is not punctual. We want to be happy now, at the very moment. I'm going to do this, and 1 second later, as soon as I finish, I will be happy. No. Happiness is not punctual. Happiness is achieved by making other people happy. Here's an example. If you have a, say, small kid, 2 years old, 3 years old, maybe 4 years old, and you take your little kid to the park where that kid is going to play with other kids. And then, when they are together, the moms and dads, they stay a little bit away from the kids. So maybe you're sitting on a bench in the park watching your kid. And they're all watching their kids. And the kids are all happy and making noises. They put their arms up and they splash water, all of those things. They are extremely happy. They have their faces, smiling, laughing. You that's sitting on the bench watching your kid, you're going to be smiling as well. You're going to catch yourself being as happy as that kid is. And while you're looking at it, there is no bad neighbor. There are no accounts to be paid. There is no bad boss, nothing like this, because at the moment, you are punctually happy. Why? Because you brought your kid to the park, and hey, your kid, him, he, she, not you, is happy. So you made somebody else happy. That makes you happy. So when we look for happiness in the future, let's say, for example, I want to be, I will, it's a statement that we do ourselves. I will be happy when I buy this particular thing. So you're looking for happiness in the future, and you're not making anybody happy. So happiness is going to be just a perception. When you get there, that won't be enough to make you happy, because then you already have that material thing and you got to go to a next one, and then a next one, and then a next one. So happiness becomes this horizon, the line of horizon that you never reach, because of our perception is wrong about happiness. Happiness in the future comes from happiness now, which is making people happy now, helping people to be happy now. Now, for lower order spirits, those in the shades of red that we showed, happiness for those spirits has to do with material achievements. Get a car, get a house, gadgets, whatever it is. For higher order spirits, those in the shades of green, happiness ties into the attributes of the soul. Being able to love, being able to do charity, being able to pass knowledge along because you already know things. That's what makes them happy. Different than those in the shades of red. So that's our wrong perception of happiness. Let's talk a couple of things about perception of God. Perception of God. God is difficult to understand, of course, because we don't understand it easily because our perception of God is incorrect. So when there's a calamity, when there's a tragedy somewhere, the first question is, where is God? He wasn't there at that time in that place. So where was he? What was he doing at that time? As if God was a person that, left the premises to do something else. This is a completely incorrect perception of God. God is here today, and God is here tomorrow, and God was here yesterday. You see, God is nothing material, so God does not recognize present, past, and future in the same way that we do. God is eternal. And another thing that we have a hard time understanding about God is not adjustable. It's immutable. We are mutable. God is not. We are moving targets, doing different things every day, going here and there, making mistakes, and we have to adjust ourselves to suffer less, to not do the same thing that we did before because it was wrong, or it's going to put me in a difficult situation. This is adjustment. God is not adjustable. So every time we complain about where is God, what is he doing, God is our reference. If you dethrone our reference, what do we expect? Well, to say the least, chaos. Perception of justice. Human justice and divine justice are completely different things. We also had a talk maybe a couple of years ago about divine justice versus human justice. Our justice is adjustable. It has laws that need to change, laws and principles that need to change with time and place. We establish the truth from the facts. God doesn't do that. God does not establish the truth from the facts. We do. Our laws are based on facts that we experienced as a society. So that particular society went through a situation that, okay, we got to do something about this. Let's write a law that addresses that situation. In another place of the globe, it could be completely different. So we don't need to worry about this. Or We need to worry about this, but we're going to have a different outcome. Our law is going to be different. God doesn't have anything like this. Divine justice, we can't mess with it. It's not adaptable, no favoritism, no nuances. They are perennial laws. Our perception of justice lacks immutability, and our blatant ignorance of the truth. We are not the ones to tell what the truth is. I said this last week. Truth is not something that we state. It's something that we subscribe to. To wrap up, perception of free will. Free will, in general, is perceived by us like this. I give myself the right to do anything. That's a wrong perception because we are going to get in trouble. Our perception of free will lacks responsibility. Free will without responsibility is not really, we couldn't call free will because you're going to act like an animal. That's the animal kingdom. So our perception of free will lacks responsibility. So those are some of the perceptions of the soul. Our soul is worth a lot for us to not, follow the laws. That's a very interesting phrase, by the way. Never lower your worth to get somebody's attention. Meaning, don't change your character to match somebody else's reputation. That's what they think of you. It doesn't mean that you aren't. You can be a three-blade fan and they tell you you're a disc, if you know what I mean from the very first thing that we said today. So, perception is something that we should work on. We need to work on because that's going to bring us to the next level in terms of moral, intellectual evolution. So we need to work on that. As a society, as a person, never forget, we are immortal spirits. So we are going to come back as many times as needed to keep working on the way we perceive things. And again, as we go up on the spirit scale, our perception gets, more accurate. Before we close up for tonight, I just wanted to mention to you KardecFlix.com. KardecFlix.com is a new platform. You see here the description down on your screen. It's a platform full of resources, Spiritism and Spiritist resources. It has movies, interviews. It includes kids' contents, teen contents. It's a great, great, great tool for learning, understanding Spiritism, whatever age we are. We are always learning. We are all supposed to learn to be better people, to follow our path towards perfection. Well, thank you very much for being with us tonight. And once again, we do this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be here next week. Thank you.